There we go. So I'm going to, how do I get out of full screen? I'm not used to being, there we go. Exit full screen, the host. You want to learn about Shopify? Okay, so I'm going to start with some basic information, and I can see the comments. So if you have questions along the way, please ask them, because I want this to be tailored to you as much as possible, as opposed to just like general information that's not directly helpful, because nobody needs that. So some of you are on Shopify, some of you are not. I'm going to start with a basic overview of why you might want to do Shopify versus another one, and then how to kind of go about that if you don't have anything yet. Okay, we still got a few people joining. If you're just joining, tell me in the comments why you're here. I know you all, a lot of you filled out the questionnaire, but I don't see names with it. So just go ahead and tell me if you're on Shopify already, or you're just curious about it, or what the deal is. I liked some of your answers in the questionnaire. One of them was, I hear the instructor is good. I don't know who said that, but thanks, you're sweet. All right, we'll get started. Let me know if you have questions along the way. Curious about, oh, let's see, I scrolled up too far. If you are commenting in the comments, change the to message from a specific person to everyone in the meeting, so that everyone can see your comments if you want to share them with everyone. Otherwise, it will just come to me. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start by talking about, now that we know a little bit of where you're at, we're going to start at the basics about why you might want to have Shopify. So we have Squarespace, we have Shopify, we have Etsy, we have WooCommerce. There are like lots of different platforms. I'm not a Shopify expert, but I have used it for maybe 2.5 years now. I was originally on Etsy, and then you can't hear anything, Gina. Can everybody else hear me? Yeah, Gina, maybe it's something with your speaker or your mic. I don't know. Let me know if you can figure it out. Is that better, Gina? No? Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Hopefully you can figure that out. So I was originally on Etsy. I moved to Squarespace, and then I moved to Shopify because, from what I had heard, Shopify has a more robust selling platform. Obviously, it's been a few years now since I've been on Squarespace, and I know Squarespace also has a lot of capability. But in terms of e-commerce, SEO capability, getting found on Google, all of that kind of stuff, what I've seen is that Shopify is kind of the top of the line. It also has an insane amount of apps and plugins that you can kind of basically do anything with it. I will say that sometimes those apps and plugins add up. So, you know, you have your Tisbury low traffic. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that. You have your kind of main monthly thing that you pay every month, and then sometimes you're going to need to add apps to have different functionalities, and that does add cost on. So one thing that I will say going into this is that Shopify, generally speaking, is going to be a little bit more. The base plan is not necessarily more than other places, but as you add apps and functionality, it does sometimes become a little bit more. That being said, there are a lot of free apps. I'm going to show you all of the ones I use so that you kind of have a starting point, but really it's endless. You can do so many things. Kate uses the Google Calendar app, which is $7 a month for market schedule. That's brilliant. I love that. I don't have that one. So there are lots of different things you can do. So that's why I use Shopify. I find that for growth and online selling, it just has so many options. And then for if I don't know if you have looked at the pricing, I can drop, if you haven't looked at it at all, I'm going to drop this link in the comment or in the chat here. It's Shopify pricing. It shows the 3 different tiers. The first tier is basic Shopify. It's $29 a month. The second tier is $79 a month, which the plan is called just Shopify. And then nobody here is going to use advanced Shopify. That's $300 a month. And I don't think I will ever need that unless I become like, I don't know, Kate Spade or something. So those are the 2 tiers. So it's going to be 29 or 79. I have the middle tier. I have the one that's 79. However, I pay every 2 years. So you can do it where you pay for a bigger chunk up front. I haven't looked at my invoicing recently, but I think mine's about $2,000 every 2 years, which let's see, quick math divided by 24. So mine's like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. That's more than the Shopify plan. Anyways, mine's less. Disregard the math because I pay for 2 years up front. So those are the different plans. And
if you pay all at once?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't think they have, as far as I know, they don't have like specials where it's like buy now and you get it less, but probably you can pay like a year up front, 2 years up front, like what I did, and you'll get less. And so I've just done it for 2 years, and I guess I've renewed that twice now. So I guess I've had it longer than I thought, more like 4 years. So the reason why you would want to do, where do I have this information? The lower versus the middle plan, there are really only a few things. One of them is that you're going to get a little bit more in-depth analytics on the middle plan when you go into the back end and you're looking at, say, what were your top sellers by color and variant. Because I don't have the lower plan, I can't tell you exactly what the difference in the analytics is, but it's just going to be a little bit more robust for the other one. But if you're just getting started, I don't think that you should necessarily choose that middle tier plan just for that little bump in analytics. And then the only other reason that I can see from looking at the big breakdown is that your credit card processing fee is going to be a little bit less on the more expensive plan. But if you're not processing a lot online right now, that's not necessarily super important because you'll end up paying more monthly. It makes a difference when your monthly starts to go up more in how much you're selling. And you can upgrade plans later. So if you're just thinking about it and you're starting out, oftentimes starting with that lower plan, and then once you get more volume going, upgrading it later probably is the way to go. Honestly, I wasn't selling very much on my website when I got Shopify. So why I chose the middle one, I don't know. I just did, and I've been with it since then. So those are the 2 options. Now, one thing that I want to talk about with Shopify specifically, and one of the reasons I love it, especially because a lot of us sell in person at Pike Place or somewhere else, is that you can create locations and you can set it up so that, yes, you can start with the basic and move to the middle layer. The layouts, I don't believe are different, Cindy. No, I believe the Shopify themes stay the same, and it's more like back end processing for the credit card fees and the analytics that are going to be more robust. The theme is just the front facing, like what customers see. And so those are going to be either the free ones or what you pay for, regardless of which plan you pay for. Yeah. So yeah, one of the reasons that I love Shopify is that I was having inventory issues where if I sold something in person, I had to then immediately go take it offline if it was one of a kind, because I do have a fair amount of one of a kind things. And so you can make different locations with Shopify, and I will get into that a little bit if you all are interested, but I just wanted to mention that up front, that you can essentially have a Pike Place location. So I have Studio, which is where I am right now, where things ship from. I have a Pike Place location. So if I sell something at Pike Place, it's coming from there. And I have a shows location. And for the shows location, I change the address anytime I do a show other than Pike Place. And this is amazing. It changes the tax percentage that it's charging customers based on that location. So one of the issues I had with Shopify when I was on Shopify is that, Squarespace, they both start with an S. When I was on Squarespace, is that I had to configure the tax rates, and Washington State is a destination-based sales tax state, meaning I don't charge based on where I'm shipping from, I charge based on where they are getting the package, and that changes from county to county, which means I had to input all of those ahead of time, which means I didn't input them ahead of time, and I basically just charged as if they were buying it at my studio every time, even though they weren't. I think probably none of us are big enough where the IRS would get you on that, or the state, but Shopify configures that automatically. So it knows that it's charging sales tax based on where you're shipping. And so it changes the rate behind the scenes when you are sending packages out. Okay, before I get more in depth on that, I want to talk about choosing themes. I'm going to drop another link here. Actually, I want to ask you what's helpful first. Do you want me to talk about choosing themes, or do you want me to show you the back end of my website and what it looks like first? I don't think it really matters which order, but if you have one that's a higher priority to you, I will tell you that first. Back end. Okay, that's actually the order I had it in before choosing themes. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Let me see here. Share this. Okay. I can't see the chat as easily when I have the screen shared. Let me see if I can pull it up just in case you have questions. There we go. Okay. Okay, so this is the back end of the website when you are in Shopify. And obviously mine is all set up. So this is home. You're going to see a dashboard of sales I've had in the day, which there are none yet today, and total sessions of people. It shows live view and how many are there. Currently, mine is super high because I've had a few blog posts that have kind of shown up now at the top of Google. And so this number of people on the website's really high right now. So when you first start this, you're going to have to do some configuration and settings. This is kind of where you're going to start within Shopify. And I think there are some like initial Shopify walkthroughs of here's the stuff you don't want to miss when you're setting it up. If that would be helpful, I will find some articles for you and send them afterward so they can be sent out. Let me know if that would be helpful, but I will show you the back end of mine just so that you can see it in the meantime. So you're going to want to have store address. This is actually, I just changed addresses, but this is going to be the address here that your return address on shipping labels is. Yeah, I'll share that resource. Okay, let me just write it down so I don't forget. Share, yep, articles on setup. Okay. So you want to make sure that your address here is where you want people to ship things and what you want the return address to be printed on your shipping labels. It does not, the legal name of the company has to be here, but the address can be whatever your shipping address is, even if it's not the official legal address. Obviously, you want to make sure that your time zone is correct, your weight is ounces. I don't have anything here, we don't need that. And your currency is US dollars. That's just kind of the basics. And then your store contact email, whatever you want that to be. And my industry is other, that's not so important. So that is general settings. We're just going to go through all of these. I'm going to try and go pretty fast and stop me if you have questions. So payments, You're going to have to enable what you would like. There are so many things. A lot of them are easily, let me move this to the side here, configured. PayPal is a pretty normal one here. So you will connect that. Amazon Pay, I don't have. Third-party providers, I don't have down here. But there are lots of different things. One alternative payment method I have is Afterpay. It allows people to split payments into 4 equal payments. There are some other ones as well. If you want to use something like Afterpay, you actually don't do this through Shopify. You reach out to Afterpay and they set it up for you in the back end. Cindy raised your hand. Yeah, do you want to unmute and ask a question?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for the class, by the way. I do have a question about payments. Have you noticed what's the most popular when people pay? Is it PayPal, Afterpay, or is it all over the board?
PayPal, for me personally, PayPal and ShopPay, which is the Shopify's personal payment portal.
Okay.
Flip-flop back and forth. Neither one of them is more popular, but I do get quite a lot on PayPal, quite a lot on ShopPay. Afterpay is not as popular as either of them, but it does get used every month for sure.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So percentage-wise, maybe like, I don't know. I'm not going to do the percentage. That's not helpful. But yeah, it's more PayPal and ShopPay, and then Afterpay as kind of like a third lower tier.
Okay.
One thing to consider is if your products are over $1,000, Afterpay does not work after that. There are other options.
Okay.
So that's what I've noticed. Yeah, no problem. Payment capture here is automatic. Customers' payment methods is authorized and charged. You don't want manually because I think that means you're entering their card in manually. Afterpay is like layaway. No, it is not. Afterpay allows the customer to receive their item right away, and Afterpay kind of takes the risk per se of having you send the piece out ahead of time. So when I get an Afterpay order, it doesn't actually show in my back end with any, it's not distinct that it came from Afterpay. It shows like any other order. I ship it out, and then Afterpay deals with that auto charge every 2 weeks for the next 8 weeks. And then I believe for customers, if they default on one of those payments, like it's going to a credit card that has hit a max or a debit card where the account is drawn, then they do have a high percentage fee, kind of like a credit card. I've never heard of anybody of my customers, at least, having that happen because it's all set up kind of just to pull behind the scenes. Yeah, happy to explain it. I wanted to do it because as I started having higher price pieces, some people weren't always comfortable paying that up front. But, you know, I've heard some feedback from people also that they would just rather save and pay in full. So, you know, everybody has a different opinion. It's kind of an alternative to a credit card without having to remember to pay the credit card because Afterpay just works in the background. So that's the behind the scenes of that. You can see here that my credit card rate is as low as 2.6 plus 30 cents. If I had the lower plan, I believe it's more like 2.7 or 2.8. So it's a little bit more, maybe 2.9. But again, and then here you want to connect your bank account to make sure that payouts go to you. So that is the payment portal. Checkout. You're going to want to customize all of this. Here, my accounts are optional. It means that a customer can make an account to have like their payment information saved, but they don't have to. I'm not going to go through customized checkout, but you will want to upload your logo, change any colors and fonts, make it look like what you'd like it to look like. Customers here can check out using phone number or email. You can choose either one. More people are using phone numbers and checking out on their phones, but it's totally up to you if you'd like them to be required to just do email or they can choose. And they can choose here to receive shipping updates or updates in the Shopify app if they have it. I don't find that most customers download the Shopify app to get updates, but they can. What's the cost, Anne? It is $29 a month for the lowest plan. It is $79 for the mid-tier plan. Those are the only two you'd consider. The mid-tier has a little bit more robust analytics and a little bit of a cheaper processing fee for cards. That being said, if you're just starting out, probably the low 29 is what you're going to want to go with. So form options require first and last name. I would always want somebody's first and last name for shipping. I've hidden company name because most people are buying for themselves. Address line 2 is optional for apartment. And then what I've done here, and you don't have to do this, but I have required a shipping address phone number. And this allows me to do a few things. It allows me to always have a customer's phone number. And some things that I do behind the scenes, for example, if somebody is a guy, generally he's buying a gift, and I will text them after an order comes in and say, hey, would you like gift wrapping? Can I do anything else? Can I write a special note? And it just provides an extra step in kind of customer service and customer trust and loyalty. So I like requiring a phone number. And then I always know I have the customer's phone number on hand if I need to get to them. Or say, when you go to ship, their address is showing that it's incorrect. You can easily text or call somebody. How many items can you display in the, I don't think there's a limit, Farhad, but I can look into that. Item limit for 29 plan. I'll look for you, okay? I don't think there is one, but all right. These are all basic things. I'm going to kind of skip through them. I've checked shipping address is default billing address unless they want to change it. Enable address auto completion. This is important if you're going to have gift cards. Automatically fulfill only gift cards of the order. So if somebody's ordered like an earring and a gift card is going to be automatically fulfilled and marked as fulfilled because it's digital for me. Anything else will not automatically fulfill. So if you have an item that is a digital item, you're going to want to say automatically fulfill the order's line items because that's not going to be a physical product that you're shipping out. And then this selection is after an order has been fulfilled and paid, you can archive it. Automatically archive the order. Okay, fulfilled meaning you've already shipped it. When you ship something, it marks as fulfilled. So that's just like the basic backend. Show sign up option at checkout. For email marketing, I would highly recommend doing this, even if you don't yet have an email marketing plan. This way you're collecting the emails, and having both of these checked is really important. Show a sign up option. You don't just want a sign up option that's unchecked because people are more likely to leave it checked. You want to make sure it's pre-selected that they're signing up so that instead of opting in, they're opting out if they don't want to be on it. Abandoned checkouts. If you don't have an email marketing platform like MailChimp or Klaviyo or something like that, I would turn on abandoned checkouts through Shopify because they do have, Kate, yes, we will talk about gift cards. Yep. Gift cards. I'll put a note just to get to that. If you don't have an email provider, for sure, you want to turn on abandoned checkouts here. I have Klaviyo, and so my abandoned checkout emails come through Klaviyo versus Shopify. That's why this is off. I don't know the exact percentage, but something like 80% of carts are abandoned. And so if you have that turned on, you're much likely to recover, more likely to recover them. Checkout language, English for me, probably for most of you, but you know, you can choose something else there if you'd like. Okay, I'm going to keep moving so that we have time for everything else. Shipping and delivery, this is fairly important. Okay, I'm going to show you manage rates. in here. So first thing here, you have general shipping. I have 4 rates for 2 zones. This is what it looks like behind the scenes for me. Oh, what did I just click on? Okay, so products here are just, it's just showing all products that I have in my store. I don't actually need to look at that right now. But if you have, for example, small pieces of art and then like giant, one of a kind, original framed pieces or something like that, where they're like totally different shipping charges, you can go in here to charge different rates for only certain products, create a new profile in shipping settings. And you can create a profile for like small goods versus large flat goods or whatever. And that way the shipping is going to show differently for all of those because they have such different weights and dimensions. Mine are all tiny jewelry pieces, so I don't have that set up. You can, I told you earlier about location. So studio here is my shipping origin. And again, this is not my correct PO box anymore, but which I need to change. But my studio address, because it's my shipping origin, is what my return address on printed labels is going to be. So you want to set that up the same. I can change shipping origin here. Here, I'm not going to go into this. If you had a storefront, like 2 storefronts, and you were shipping from both of them, you can have 2 different shipping origins. But do I have stamps.com to ship your items? Tisbury, I don't have stamps.com. I actually just use Shopify rates. But you can compare Shopify rates, stamps.com. One that a friend uses is called Go Shippo. It also connects with Shopify. So you can compare rates at all of those. But I just use Shopify shipping and it's been totally fine to not have an added app. Okay, so here's what I have set up in my shipping zones here. I have domestic. The rate name is first class parcel mail. My shipping for first class parcel mail within the US is currently free. And so instead of adding a rate where it auto calculates the rate, it's just free. But I can add a rate. Let me see if I can show you. So for example, if you wanted to have, I'm just gonna pretend that we're making one here. Say that my packaging costs, so my box and my labels and everything cost like $4. I'm gonna say first class parcel mail price is $4. I'm gonna add a condition based on weight or order price. You can do either of those, and you can have a minimum and maximum weight. So you can really cater this. And this would be the option if you want a flat rate box. So for example, you want to say my shipping is always $4, $7, whatever it is, regardless of what the mail carrier charges. This is how you would set it up, set up your own rates. However, if you would like the customer to pay whatever the rate is, and they pay all of it, you're going to say set up a carrier rate. And then in the drop down, you can select DHL, UPS. I don't know why USPS is not allowing me to select here, but you should be able to select the carrier you'd like. And then if you have packaging and handling here, you can add that on. So what I was doing previous to free shipping was this was USPS here. I didn't have a percentage, but I had a flat amount. So mine was $3 per package was my shipping and handling fee. And then Shopify's was say $3.60. And so the customer was charged $6.60 for shipping. 3 of that was my shipping and handling. 3 of that was the actual shipping charge. And they just see it bundled as one. So you can totally customize it to be whatever you need for your packaging. If your packaging is a lot more expensive, less expensive, whatever. So I'm going to cancel.
I was just curious, do you ever do insurance on top of that, or?
Every once in a while. Yeah, I've started more recently doing insurance, and I will, a little bit later, I can pretend to ship an order and I'll show you how to add that.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're going to add the insurance on the back after somebody's placed an order and you are shipping it. There may be a way, like if you were selling if I were selling jewelry that's all over $2,000, maybe I'd require them to pay insurance up front. And in that case, maybe I could do it on the front end, but I'll show you the back end for that. Okay, so that's like domestic, easy. You choose the price for everything or auto calculate, either way. Here's what I have. Shopify makes it really easy to ship all over the world. I have USPS and DHL as the two options, and the handling fee is nothing. So they just pay the shipping rate, but I could put a handling fee if I wanted. And then the shipping speed, they're going to be able to select that preference. So like if I click this 3 services here, they have the option when they check out of first class package international, priority mail international. Each of those are going to be a different price. I don't control it. They just selected at checkout. So it's totally out of my hands and it's based on the USPS rates. So that's it for shipping. I would encourage the international option just because that depends on what you have, but it is pretty easy, and Shopify has customs forms that are digital behind the scenes. So you don't have to worry about like printing custom forms or anything like that. Okay, taxes. We're gonna go through here real fast. Here's what I have set up. United States collecting taxes, rest of world not collecting taxes. Let's see if I can show you in manage here. Yeah, so I'm collecting taxes for Washington State. I'm currently not selling enough in any other states to collect taxes in another state. And you would have to look at any of those states if that's the case. It's called Nexus when you have to collect sales tax for another state. And the only way that would happen is if you're selling more than a certain amount within that state, or if you have a distributor. For example, your business is in Washington, but all your products are stored in a warehouse in Oregon and shipped from there, then you have to collect sales tax in Oregon. Well, actually, no, you don't in Oregon because they don't have sales tax. So that was not a good example, but you get what I'm saying. Basically, you're going to need Washington here. And unless you're selling huge volumes to other states, you're not going to need anything else. And it's going to be auto collected there. So that's all you need there. Tax calculations. You could choose that all prices include tax. I don't have that. Taxes added after. You could charge tax on shipping rates. And you could charge VAT. This more applies to EU stuff. So that's all you need there. Locations. This is what I wanted to mention about. I would suggest if you have not set up your Shopify store fully yet and you don't have products yet, I would suggest setting up these locations beforehand, because what you can do when you make a new product, and I'll show you this, is you can just choose that it's available at all locations. And I'm going to explain the reasoning here. So Studio is shipping origin. Let me know if you have questions. This can be a little confusing. So Studio is, we're going to just say is the top, even though it's on the bottom there, is shipping origin. When I make pieces, I stock them all at the Studio, which means there's 0 stock at Pike Place Market, 0 stock at shows. It's all at the Studio. But because Studio has priority, Pike Place and shows are underneath. If I sell anything at Pike Place and I sell anything at a show, it pulls from the Studio inventory and it takes that one, for example, like these one-of-a-kind earrings, it takes the one-of-a-kind earrings off the website because there's only one stocked at the Studio, but available at shows in Pike Place. So I will show you an order and how that looks. There are 2 distinctions. One is where it's stocked, the other is where it's available. So if you have one-of-a-kind work, you're going to want to stock it at your home shipping origin, whatever that is. And then you're going to want to make it available at all the other places so that if you go to a show or you're at the market, and you sell something that's one of a kind, it immediately, as soon as that transaction goes through, it says it's sold out on my website, which creates any hassle of anybody else trying to buy it afterwards. So for Pike Place Market, I believe that this address is the Pike Place like PO box little shipping center, which is not technically my booth location. If you had a store location, you would put it as that. But it just needs to be correct for the sales tax collection because it's downtown Seattle. So you just want to have it as an address that's like right there localized to the market. And then shows currently actually have my old house address, but I would go into shows, and each time I go to a show, I just change the address to wherever I am. And then it's correctly collecting sales tax for that location. The only other thing to keep in mind for that is that if you are traveling to a show, which I know is not the case for anybody right now, but if you're traveling to a show out of state and you change this to an out of state address, you are going to want to go in the back end and make sure you're collecting sales tax for that state, because when you're in person at a show, you have to collect sales tax for that state versus if you're shipping to that state. That's the only little like side note there. But does that all make sense so far? How do I mark it sold at the market? Barcodes. Jen, it's going to show on the back end where it's sold. It shows, so like I can pull a report and it can say, here were your sales from studio, here were your sales from shows, here were your sales from Pike Place for the month. So it's not by barcode, it's that when you sign into the Shopify payment app, which is used instead of Square or whatever else, you sign in with your location and then the app knows where you are. Does that make sense? And then any payment while you're signed in at that location is going to show that it came through that location. I'm just going to keep going unless you have more questions, because there's just so much back here. So locations, notifications, I don't really want to get into this. You can select whatever you want. It's like what notifications people get. If they get an email when their order is canceled or when they got a refund, or etc. So that, you just go in and select whatever you want. I have them all selected, I believe, at this point, all the ones that are relative or relevant to me, but there are a lot there. Gift cards. Okay, let's talk about gift cards real fast. Shopify does these on the back end. Gift cards never expire, or gift cards expire. I believe that, yeah, I believe that in the US, you actually can't have a gift card expire technically. So that's why mine don't. And so I just have it set there. And then I'm going to show you, you actually set up a gift card as a product, but then you have to make sure this is checked back here. So I will show you that in a little bit. I'm not going to show you files. That's just for uploading other documents of yours. Sales channels, we will get into that in a minute. These are like the other connected storefronts you can have with Facebook and Instagram. This is your plan details. I'm not going to go there. Users and permissions. If you have an assistant who you would like to be in your Shopify, like making edits, you can give them their own login. I believe that's one of the other things that the lower tier is different versus the upper tier. I have 5 logins that I can have for people. The lower tier might have just like 1 or 2 added staff logins. So I have one assistant, a second assistant, and then Afterpay, which I described earlier, actually is kind of like a back-end staff login. And that's how they manage that. I wouldn't worry too much about that in the beginning. And if you trust them, you can also just give them the main login. Store languages, I'm not going to get into that either. Billing information and invoices, you just want to make sure that you have whatever your current bank account is so that payments are automatically funneled to you. It's going to show, this is where you would go to see like, what payments do I have coming? And also as you start to add Shopify apps, you're going to see the fees for those monthly here and shipping fees if you need to be paying for shipping. Because I have free shipping for my customers, I pay shipping fees each month. But if you have your customers paying for everything, you wouldn't have any of those. And then it's just going to show my bills for the last months. If you need to go look at that. Legal pages, this is pretty important. And luckily Shopify auto generates these and you can just edit them. So I believe when you open this, you're just going to have a template and then you're going to change the details to be whatever they are for your specific business. So it gives you all the legalese, all the stuff for the privacy policy you need, terms of service, all of that. It's important to have these. Pretty much no one reads them ever, but if they do, and if something happens, you make sure you have all this legal stuff. And all you have to do here is go through and like replace your name. Make sure you actually read it. But because it's a template, it's not too hard. Shipping policy, you're going to want to make that a little bit more personal based on like if stuff is made to order and takes you longer to ship, that you want to put in the shipping policy here. So that's all pretty easy because they have templates. And then capital, we're not going to go there. That's Shopify has like a funding option once you've sold a certain amount, and that's not important for us right now. So does anybody have questions so far? That's the back end settings, and I haven't even gotten into themes. Okay, we are at, what time is it? Good, we have a little time. Okay, so let's talk about themes real fast and how to pick a theme. I'm going to show you the theme I have, why I picked it, and I'm going to give you a list of other popular themes because I can't pick a theme for you. There are just too many. But I'm going to go to, probably a lot of you have looked at my website. I'm just going to go to, let's just go to earrings right now. Tisbury is what a website look right here, where we're looking at.
Yeah, like on Squarespace, they have all different, templates basically you can plug into. Is that what that theme is?
Yeah. A theme is exactly what it looks like. Yeah. So themes can be like customized a lot. The original theme isn't what the final thing has to look like. At the same time, like I don't have design background. And so picking a theme that already looks pretty good to me and then changing the colors and changing some photos is what I find the best way to go, because then you already have something that looks really professional and you haven't like, nobody's custom coding anything or anything like that. So the reason I chose my theme, there's like literally just one reason, is when you click on one of my products, do you see this little color swatch tile here? That is the only reason I chose this theme, so that I can have these little tiles showing the product colors. So that was my specific reason for choosing this theme. And let's see, let me go back to the back end here. Yeah. My theme here is actually called, oops, where's the tab? Is actually called Motion, and it's actually designed for really good video capability. Do you see the video in the background here? I believe there are some other, like, see this like spreading video thingy here. Motion is actually designed for this kind of like video capability, and I'm probably going to start using that in the next little while as I do more video. But the only reason I chose it was for those tiles. I probably could have done them another way with custom encoding on a different theme, but I didn't want to deal with that. And so that's why I chose this one. So I'm going to drop the link to this particular theme in the chat here, if you'd like it. If you want to do those custom color tiles and you need to add your custom colors, I'm not going to explain the coding in the back end, but Shopify is very helpful. And if you set up a call with them, they will spend an hour on the phone walking you through it. They're like super helpful. They have changed a little bit in the last year and a half because they've grown so much. You can't just like call and immediately talk to somebody anymore. You used to be able to call and immediately talk to somebody. Now you have to go through their like help page. It's first going to show you some articles that are related to your question. And then at the bottom, you will say request a callback, which means you don't sit on hold, but they will give you a call. So very helpful support. It just takes a few more steps now. You can't just call and get somebody right away. So that's my theme. I'm going to send this article as well for the best Shopify themes right now. Everybody's different in what we need, so I don't want to get too deep into this because there are just so many options here. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. The paid ones aren't usually more than like 110 maybe. I don't know. Let's see if it says here. I don't know if it says. A lot of them are free.
Is that a one-time fee?
One-time fee. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you find a theme that I'm going to go back to this page, that you really like you really like the look or functionality or the way a page is laid out, kind of like look at the product pages, for example, like is the image for the product on the top or the bottom or the side? You can change some of those things, but oftentimes a theme is built so that the product is going to be laid out in a certain way. And while you can change colors and fonts and some things within that, oftentimes that layout's going to stay fairly similar unless you get into coding. So find something that you like the look of generally, and then fonts, colors, photos, page margins, like how much is on the side and the bottom of the top, all that you can change usually. Just find something you generally like in the beginning. I can't say that there's really anything better about a paid versus a free theme. Every once in a while, they'll have a little bit more robust support because theme support is different than Shopify support. Themes are usually built within outside companies made for Shopify. So that being said, I almost never have to go to my theme for help. Usually Shopify is able to help me with everything when I've needed it. So I don't know if that's clear enough. Let me know if you have more questions about themes. Generally, my advice would be just to choose something and make it work. And if you need to change themes down the road, it's a little bit of work because some like if you've done any coding, some things won't always transfer over to any new theme seamlessly. But it's better to just start than to worry about it too much, in my opinion. So that's themes. You have both of those links for the one I use and the kind of like top ones currently. I'm gonna try and, I tried to unclick that and I stopped the preview. Hold on a second. Does anybody have questions so far? That's a lot of stuff. That's all just like technical backend stuff.
I do actually, maybe you'll get to this later, but what are you using for cameras? Like I was planning on using my iPhone and I definitely don't want it grainy. So what kind of resolution should I use? Maximum, minimum?
Yeah, I mean, we can get into it more. Honestly, for most everything, I've used my iPhone, and until January, maybe, I had an iPhone 6. And now I have an iPhone like 11 Max Pro something. I don't know. It's like more than I've ever spent on a phone.
But
and
your 6 was fine?
It's not perfect, but yeah, for a website, a website is you want the images on a website to be actually pretty compressed, because if they're really big files, it's going to slow your website down and the loading time will take a long time for people. So yeah, for photography, I would eventually love to have like a professional camera.
Mhm.
Currently, my phone is totally fine. And I took pretty much all of my product photos for my business forever on an iPhone 6 or older.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can share with you, let's see, I'll share a few, I'm going to do a little more Shopify stuff, but I'll share some photo editing apps that I use.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Kate uses her phone, works great. You can upload your photos from your phone, which save time. Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot. Yeah. For website, like you want it to be small anyways. Obviously you want to get as good of lighting as you can. We can always do more professional photography down the road. Like I would love to have it done higher quality and more focus, etc., with a professional camera someday, but it's more important to just get it up there. Jen asked about barcodes. Are all your items coded? You know, they are not right now, Barbara, but that is something that I'm thinking about doing. So I will have to get back to you on that. Barcodes. Maybe I can, we can do a little follow-up, or I can just send a little document afterward, because I'm in the middle of gonna start figuring that out. But I'm not there yet. Okay, let me see here if I've missed any notes. I showed you behind the scenes. I told you about automatic sales tax calculations. Okay, the only other thing that I love about the point of sale. So you are going to have to get, if you're using Shopify as one integrated platform as opposed to like Square and Shopify or something, you're going to have to get a Shopify reader. I don't know for a fact if they give them free anymore. Sometimes they were free, sometimes it's like a low fee, but you're going to want to get a Shopify reader. Maybe it's like $30 or something like that. Works as the Square one does. I think now it has tap and chip capabilities. I haven't gotten a new one in quite a while, but my old one is actually right here. And it looks like a little stand, and that's the charging stand, but then it also can come out like this so that you can have it like that. But I just have it, you know, when I'm for using it at the market or something, just sitting in here, and they like stick their card in, and that's it. It's pretty easy.
Does Shopify have payroll? They don't like Square, do they? Or
I bet they have a payroll app, but I don't think they have it built in as a part of Shopify. I can put that here just to look into as well. For Shopify, my bookkeeper does my payroll, so I don't have to have an app for it. So I'll look into it. I bet they have something. They do have because you can make employee accounts. You can also make within the POS system specific employee like PIN login, so that if you have somebody selling at the market, they sign in with their own PIN, and that way you know which, like when they've signed in, and also which sales are coming from which person, which is helpful. Are the transaction fees the same with POS as they are on the website? I think, Chris, that they might be a little bit different, but they're not super different. Let me see if I can see that here easily. I'm gonna just look at that behind the scenes while I'm talking about other stuff. I don't remember. I think they might be a little different. Amy says the PDA has photography equipment that any market craftspeople can check out and use, cameras, lights, etc. That's awesome. Yeah, so if you do need more photography stuff and you have like a 15 pieces you need a photograph, that could be a really good resource if you don't want to go get a separate camera. Okay, let me just see here. POS fees. All of these details are going to be on the, yeah, so in-person rates are a little bit less than online rates. So for the lowest plan, the credit card processing is 2.9% and then a 30-cent charge. And then in-person credit card rates are 2.7 with no flat charge. So that's going to be the $29 plan. So it's a little bit less to sell in person, and you can record cash payments through the POS just the same as Square with no charge. So I record, I mean, it depends on how you're doing it. I record everything through the app, which means when I go to look at my analytics later in the year, later in the month, I have everything right in front of me. All payments that I made or that came in, other than wholesale sometimes for me, which sometimes I run through PayPal, are going to come through Shopify, and that way I can see everything that's happening. Okie dokie, let's see here. Behind the scenes, I showed you POS. Okay. I'm going to show you, one other thing to mention is you do have a free trial period. So you can kind of, I don't remember how long it is. Might be a few weeks, might be a month, but you can do that and then kind of play around in the back end. All right. Let's look at some other stuff, shall we? I'm going to go through some basics and share my screen again here. Jen, what do I use for SEO? I was going to talk about SEO. I'll show you a few things. Shopify is really good for just their SEO in general. Like I think Shopify websites are easy for Google to kind of like comb and read. But I will talk more about that in a minute. So let me share screen here. SEO. Okay. So I'm just going to go very quickly through these left tabs here to kind of show you what each one is about. And let me bring the chat up again because I can't see it here. There we go. Okay, so home we already were on. It's going to show your total sales. It's going to show your total sessions. This is a total side note, but generally you're going to want like an average conversion rate on a website is going to be 1%. So if I have 258 total sessions for today already, I should have 2.5 sales roughly. I have had an instance where one or two of my blog posts have been like the top in Google, but they haven't been converting because it's cold traffic. So this is an interesting and new thing for me in the last like month and a half, where previously I did have a really amazing conversion rate. And now with all this new traffic, it's like totally plummeted. So it's good to have new cold traffic, but now I have the joy of figuring out, okay, how do I get this traffic to be warm? And this is like totally on the strategy end, but one of the things is to start collecting more emails and to make sure that I have good incentives and pop-ups. And yeah, my blog is on my Shopify website. Yeah, you want them to be connected. I'm going to show you that so that the SEO all goes to the same place. So does somebody have a question? I think somebody's unmuted. No? Okay. It's unmuted. Hold on. Mute. There we go. Okay. So the home page is just going to give you very basic stuff. If you are ever like trying to figure out what to work on next, sometimes it will give you suggestions down here. You can scroll down and it can say like, here are your top discounts, or here are the customer, here's the things that have been viewed the most often, or here are the customers that, right, haven't made a purchase recently. How can you reach out to them? It'll give you just some little insights here at the bottom. So we're going to go to orders. I'm going to go to products. I'm not going to talk about orders quite yet. Where did the chat go? I minimized it and now I can't see it. Hold on. I'm going to stop share and then share again because I want to make sure I can see if you have questions. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here's products tab. What you're looking at is you're looking at all the ones that are active, draft, and archive. I don't like to look at this all tab because there are just so many, especially because I have one of a kind stuff and there's tends to be things that are sold out. So I like to either look at active or draft or archived based on what I'm doing. So here's my active stuff. I'm just gonna use one of these one of a kind ones as an example to show you what it looks like. So here is the product status. It can be active or draft. If you are building out a product and you don't yet want to make it live, you just set it as draft. You can build out the whole listing behind and then make it active. I want to say one note about product titles. Two notes about product titles. The first is every time you change a product title, it changes the Shopify analytics. So if you, this one of a kind one isn't a good example, but my most popular earring is an ember stud. It's like my little circle studs. At one point, the title was ember studs. That's it. Then I changed the title to be more SEO friendly, and I'll talk about SEO a little bit. So it was like ember studs, small silver circle stud with lace, right? It had more descriptive stuff in the title. When I changed that, my analytics now prior show that I sold just this ember stud product, and it basically shows up in my analytics as a second product. It is not a second product, but because the title changed, it is. So I would highly suggest, if you're able, to decide on a title and keep it the same if possible. If you're not, it's fine. It'll be okay, but it is in your analytics long-term going to show up as two different products. And I was just doing some looking back on past things that have sold and what was most popular. And I had to actually like download the spreadsheet, go in and combine stuff because technically they're the same item, but the title was different. You can configure this however you want here. Anytime, because my theme is going to be a little bit different than whatever your theme is potentially, I'm not going to go into formatting necessarily. But anytime you want to see what this is going to look like in your product, just click on more actions and view, and it's going to show you, even if the thing is not live yet, what it looks like on your website. So you can kind of test that ahead of time. And you can do whatever formatting here. You can upload different media here. The first big one is going to be your first image that shows. Depending on the theme, your second one will often be like a hover image, and this is, you'll select that in your theme later. So for example, when I'm looking at this one, if I hover over the main image, it shows you the model image. Organization is product type. So I have necklaces, earrings, rings, bracelets, nose rings, etc. You can select whatever product types you'd like to have. And then I will show you a little bit later. You can have like drop downs so that you can look at the product types. Vendor is Twyla Dill. The only reason you wouldn't have yourself as the vendor or your business name is if you were selling other people's products. Collections. We'll see how much we can get into today with collections. I guess we have a little less than an hour, so maybe we have enough time. You can have a lot of different collections for different things. So I have all jewelry, but also one of a kind, stones, garnets, necklace, you know, excuse me, when you talk a lot. I'm just gonna grab a mint that will help my throat. Okay. Pricing. Price is your main price. I don't know why they say compare at price here. That doesn't make sense to me, but what it means is if you have a sale, compare at price is going to be $7.98. Sale price, the one you want it to be on sale for, is what you're going to change the price to. So If you don't have compare at and then price here, it's not going to show like an original price crossed out with a new price. It's just going to show whatever the price is. Cost per item. If you would like to track margins in Shopify, you're going to put the cost per item. For example, maybe this necklace cost me, I don't know, $100 to make. You could put that here and you can actually look at reports of your margins and your profit on everything sold. So if you have that information, that could be an interesting experiment. I have my cost per items in a spreadsheet. And so I just don't do it as a combined thing in Shopify, but it could be really interesting if you're just starting out to put that in there, and then you'll see your margins, which will be extra helpful when you have sales or people use discounts or whatever. You'll still be able to see that margin and how it's either gone down or gone up based on your pricing and what discounts people have used. Charge tax on this product. The only reason you wouldn't have to click that maybe is what if you were shipping food? Pretty much all of us have to charge tax on the product, I think. Inventory, if you want to have, so a barcode, it would go here. If you want to have a SKU, it would go here. I know one of you asked about barcodes because I haven't done that yet. I don't know, but I do know that you can do barcodes through Shopify. So that's where they would go for either of those. Track quantity means that, for example, this is a one of a kind. I have a quantity of 1. I want to track that. If I had a quantity of 5, I could put that. It just gives me this quantity option here, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Oh, good, Anna. I'm so glad it's helpful so far. There's a lot behind the scenes. If you unclick track quantity, okay, Anna, it's recorded. So you'll get the recording afterward if you have to hop off. Awesome. So if I unclick track quantity, I could say, for example, if all my stuff is made to order and I just will let people order and order and it doesn't matter, I just uncheck that. And it will still tell me how many have sold, but it's not going to say there's a limit or anything like that. I used to have most of my stuff that wasn't one of a kind. I had this unclicked and it was all made to order. I've actually switched my whole website as of January to only what's in stock because I don't want to be making stuff to order anymore. And so currently all of my pieces say that, even if they're not one of a kind. Continue selling when out of stock. I don't know what that looks like on the front end, but I kind of assume that it's like you would write a little note about it. Let's see what happens actually if I click this. Nothing. Okay. You'd want to have a note somewhere saying like, we have 3 in stock. We'll sell them afterward, but then they're made to order, if that makes sense. I've never done that. Let's talk about quantity though, and where it's stocked. So you can see my locations here, right? When you build out a product, you'll get to choose the location that it's available at. I always make every product available at every location, but do you see how there's only 1 at Studio? It's only stocked at 1, which means there's only 1. If I had put a 1 at each of these, it would essentially be telling my system that I have 3 of the product. So I can actually just click on this 1 and I could make it 2. Or I can click on it again and take it back to 1, or just type in whatever quantity. So you can also do incoming, which kind of means like, I think that is more applicable if you're doing like large scale manufacturing where you know you have a shipment coming in of X amount or whatever, and you can mark that there are some incoming. But I've never done that. I only stock what's available currently. So if I were to stock 1 here and then it sells at Pike Place Market, this Pike Place Market is going to take this 1 down to 0. Do I have to manually remove in-person sale items from your site to keep inventory current? No. So when something sells at Pike Place, where there's 0 stocked, it pulls from Studio because I've set Studio as shipping origin. And I showed that back when we were in the shipping in the settings. And so I don't actually stock anything at Pike Place or shows. If I had separate inventory for Pike Place, like I'm only keeping this stuff here and I'm only keeping this stuff at home, then I would stock that stuff at Pike Place. And I'd have some stocked here and some stocked here. But I prefer to have everything available online. And then when it sells at Pike Place, it pulls that stock and takes the quantity down. The only thing that it doesn't do that you have to do manually is I don't have my website set up so that something that says out of stock comes off the website immediately. It does say out of stock, nobody can buy it, but I have to manually like make that deactivate that listing so nobody can see it anymore. Sometimes I like to leave them up for like a week or so, just to show what has sold. And then I'll go in once a week and take that listing down. Okay, this is a physical product. You definitely want that if it's a physical product. Here's a cool thing you can do. You can both have, actually, I don't know why we didn't do this in shipping. Let me make a little note. There should be a place to say your regular box sizes and how much they weigh, and then also say your product weight. And then it auto calculates the weight of your product based on the combined item weight plus the box weight. So most of my items are super light. So I have 1.1 or 1 ounce or roughly around that for pretty much everything, because most of my jewelry plus its little jewelry box is around 1 ounce or a little under. And I would prefer to just have that a little bit over than less. Okay. You can choose whatever for that weight. It can be different for every product. And that way, if your shipping is calculated by weight, you already have that in each one. Shipping origin is United States for customs. This HS code, I don't have an HS code is when you're shipping internationally and they need to know what category the product is in. You could just Google your product and HS code and it'll give you something related. I don't enter this in all of my products, but when I am shipping overseas, they do ask for the HS code, and I will just put in, I usually put like small metal parts, not jewelry, because if you put jewelry, it's more likely to get broken into. And also I think the import fees are more for the customer, excuse me. So I leave this blank, but then when I ship internationally, the HS code I use is small metal parts. You can just Google HS codes. Alrighty, this product does not have variants. So I'm not gonna click this, but I am gonna go in and show you a product with variants. This is just one of a kind. Last thing at the bottom is the SEO preview. So if somebody Googled, I don't know, garnet halo necklace, like maybe mine would show up because that's specifically in the title here. And then it's going to show you the link, and then it's going to show you the immediate information afterward. So you can edit in the SEO, the page title, the description, and the handle. So for example, if, I don't know, if you wanted this URL to be a little simpler, you could make it simpler down here. You could change the page title here. And you could change the description here to be a little more SEO friendly. But I'm not going to do that right now. For one of a kind things, I often don't change any of this. If it's a repeatable thing that I'm selling a lot and a lot, you might want to change some of it to optimize for SEO, but you don't have to. And then you can just archive or delete at the bottom. Any questions so far? I'm going to talk a little bit about SEO, I think, before we go on. Yep.
So If you have free shipping, why are you putting in your ounces, your weight?
That determines what I pay for the shipping on the back end.
Okay, just for your own record.
Yeah. I still have to pay, like I'm paying USPS.
Oh, got it.
And so I need to have an accurate weight to be able to pay them. Yeah.
Okay.
So either way, you have to have product weight. But I'm just not charging it on to my customers.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Template suffix here is just, let me show you the drop down. I don't have pre-orders here, and I don't have sections, so it's just regular product. That's gonna maybe change based on your theme. Okay, let's talk a little bit about SEO and why to kind of focus on this title here. I've learned more about SEO in the last year, and so not all of my products have good SEO titles, but putting things that are searchable keywords in your product title and in the first little bit of your description is going to help Google crawl your website and show your products to more people. One of the examples I made previously, and I will actually show you here, I'll go back to other products maybe, is my Ember studs. Okay, so you can see here, Ember studs. The title isn't just Ember studs, it is loading slowly. There we go. Small circle, metal, and lace earrings. This probably could even be better optimized, but what you want is you want to find things that people might be Googling and put them in the title. And I know it's not as pretty as having like a fancy name and no description, but people, if they're searching for something, the only way you're going to get the traffic that's cold, that isn't people coming specifically to your website, is if you start paying attention to the SEO and what people might be searching for. So there is a tool called SEObook.com. SEObook.com. It's free, but you do have to make an account. And once you make an account, there's a little drop down called keyword research. And you can type in what keyword you're thinking of, and it will give you a lot of similar ones, like maybe stud with just a D or stud with an S, or like, yeah, lace earring versus lace earrings, or on and on. It's going to give you a lot of related options. You generally want to look for a title that has around 5,000 searches. That's going to be small enough where you will still be seen at the top of a Google search. Because, for example, if you just put, I don't know, silver hoop earring, it may be too broad for anybody to ever find you because it's just too generic. So SEO Book and using a tool like that helps you kind of narrow in on like, okay, what's my niche? We want to make sure people are still Googling it. Like if it has 300, that's too few, but 5,000 is kind of a good, you could go a little less, you could go a little more than that. Kind of like a hashtag or Insta. Yeah, Tisbury, a little bit, yeah. Google's going to crawl that though. So yeah, it's similar. Yeah, you want to use keywords that people are searching for. That's why you use an SEO tool, kind of like SEO Book or something else. And you can use the same thing. I think we should have time to talk about like blog posts and getting SEO traffic. You want to do like your blog post title in that same search tool and see what phrases people are searching for, so that you're using those terms in your titles and in your like first parts of your blog posts. So anyways, that's why this name is here. it's been a little while since I've gone into SEO book. My guess is that this small circle metal and lace earrings is actually not optimized well for SEO anymore, and that I should go in and edit it, but we're here and whatever. I'll do it someday. Does Shopify have added tags for each item? Can you clarify what you mean by that? I do have tags on each item, but they are for my categorization behind the scenes. Okay, so this is my Ember stud listing. I'm going to show you something with product variants. So this is how product variants look. And it is much easier. I'm going to show you right after this. I'm going to show you, like on Redbubble, you have title, description, and tags. Title, description, yes, you do have tags down here, but the tags in Shopify don't correlate to SEO. They're just like behind the scenes search segmentation for your, like, I could take this studs tag and I can make a studs page on my website so that I can show people all the stud earrings, if that makes sense. So that's what my tags are for. So this is what product variants look like behind the scenes. I have a lot of product variants on some. I have different metals and then different lace colors. It's showing all of these. So you can have different price, different stock. So like each of these products, because I have them stocked, it shows the stock, shows the price, shows the combination, has a photo. So that if they click that product variant, they're going to see the specific metal color combination. Those go all the way down there. I'm just going to show you a quick, do you all have a lot of variants? Is this helpful to see variants or not as much?
I have a lot of colors for each item.
Colors,
So.
okay. All right, so I'll show you. Okay, so you can do this, let's see. I'm gonna show you what it looks like behind the scenes, and then you have a ton of variants. And then I'm going to show you how I would go make a product with variants. So I can add a variant here after the fact. However, right after this, I'm going to show you how to make all the variants from the get-go, because it's a little easier to make all the variants for one product as you're first making the product versus going back and adding it in afterward. But if you need to go, like if you came out with a new color, you could add the metal, whatever, sterling silver, the new color, if it's the price is the same, all the same information, et cetera, where to stock it. So like you can do that for each variant here. But what I recommend is what I'm going to show you in a minute is when you're building out a product, do it all at once. So once I have the variants made, pretend these are all 0, I can actually select all of them. One of the things I can do here is more actions. I can edit the prices, the quantities, the SKUs, the barcodes. This is going to allow me to edit all of these that I've selected at once. I can add images, remove, delete, etc. Right? So I can change all of these things about the variant just by selecting all of them and clicking. The one I do the most and pretty much only is edit quantities. I'm just going to show you. Again, because I described that I only stock at Studio, I would click on Studio. And then there's this handy thing here. I can apply quantity to all variants. So for example, if you're just starting and you're starting with 3 of each or whatever, you could just say 3 apply to all. But in here, I can also edit them individually. So if, like, for example, I'm working with some influencers now, and so I will like give away a piece of jewelry. And so I come in here and I edit the back end and I just like take this 26 down to 25 or whatever. So that's just how to edit them individually. If you sell anything on the front end, you sell, say, this gold-plated Dusty Rose one, it's going to take that 18 quantity to 17 on the back end. So that's what that looks like. The other thing you can do that's pretty helpful is you can select all an open bulk editor. If you're working within products, you're going to want to do a lot in the bulk editor to make it easier. So for example, when I have a sale, or like if sometimes I have a sale where I give people a discount code, they apply it, it does that on the front end for them. Sometimes I have a sale where I say, for example, this particular product is 30% off today, just as an example. What I would do is I would come into bulk editor. I would select, let's see if I can do this, right? Select all of these, copy, paste. Oop, that didn't quite work. It only selected one. Anyways, I would make all of these 68 and all of these 78. And remember, compare at price is the one it's going to show as like what it was before. Price, I would change to the 30% off sale price. So what I can do is I can do this in bulk. And what you can do is Control Shift or Command Shift based on what computer you're in, select all. And then if you type 68, it does it all at once, as opposed to doing those individually. So that is how I would do, like if I was having a sale on a specific item, instead of changing this within the listing, that's going to be really tedious. You want to go into the bulk editor and do it that way. So I'm just going to, I don't need that here right now, but that's an example. You can do a lot in the bulk editor. I could bulk add SKUs here. I could, this is slow because of Zoom. I can add any of these things, right? The track quantity, the barcode. I could show the location of where it's available, any of these. So you can do that all in bulk in the back end, but I'm not going to get more into it. And this little checkbox on the side is saying it's saved all of those things. All right. We have half an hour. Okay. I'm going to not go over more product variant stuff unless you need it. I think that's enough for you to be able to build out a product pretty well. And let's talk about, I want to talk about discounts and apps. I want to make sure you know all of those. So discount codes are super easy in Shopify. You can do automatic discounts. For example, if you wanted to say, oh yeah, I did a 25% off sale during the holidays. The automatic discounts means that anybody who puts anything in their cart, automatically it's 25% off and they don't have to do anything or put a code in or anything like that. I generally don't do automatic discounts. I do discount codes, so I'll show you those. So there are lots of them here. I'm just going to show you one as an example. So when people order a product from me for the first time, I put a little coupon thingy in their boxes. And so this is the code, welcome 5. You can do whatever you want for the code. Generally, you want to make it fairly easy. They are case sensitive, so whatever you decide here. You can also generate a code if you want something auto-generated. You can do a different type, percentage, fixed amount, free shipping, buy X, get Y. So there are a lot of functionality. This particular one is a fixed amount of $5. It's available to all products, but you could make it only on specific collections or specific products, like this is only available on this one earring. You can have a minimum requirement or none. This particular one is $45, so that's whatever you want it to be as well. You can also set it to be a minimum quantity of items. So like you can only just get this discount if you buy 3. You can make it available to everyone or specific groups of people. So if I click this, for example, then I'm going to be able to search or browse for this group. You can select like somebody who's abandoned a checkout or only email subscribers or only people in the US, or, you know, there's a lot of stuff you can do here. But this discounts for everyone for me. Usage limits, limit to 1 per customer, or I can limit the number of times the discounts used. So like, hey, I only have 20 of these, whoever gets them first. That would be limit number of times. You can set a start date and then you can choose to set an end date or not. That's all in here. And then you can delete it at the bottom, but it's going to show you on the right all the details when it's active. And then once people start using it, it will show you how many have been used. That's just really basic for discounts. There's a lot of functionality. You can do like buy two, get one free. You can do all this kind of stuff without having an added app within Shopify to do it. Let's talk about apps real fast. I think, because we can add functionality, unless anybody has questions so far. Good so far? Okay. Actually, I want to backtrack because there's one thing I didn't mention for products, and that is photo SEO. Let me just touch on this real fast. The only other thing to make it easy to be found in search results in Google, and this is the thing with building our own websites versus Etsy or something else. We have the joys of driving all of our own traffic. So anything you can do to get more traffic is better. In the beginning, you know, when you build a website, you're not going to have a bunch of traffic and you're going to have to work to get that traffic. That's why SEO is so good. What am I trying to find here? Just Ember Studs. Where are they? Too many here. Okay, never mind. I'm going to Ember Studs. Let's try that in active. Do you see how I searched in all instead of in active? And I had way too many like discontinued listings. So all right, there we go. I wanted to show you this one. Very last thing to keep in mind about products, and I'm telling you this because in a second I'm going to show you an app that makes it easier, is when I click on a photo. All my little things are in the way here, but I'm going to have this little cute thing down here that says edit alt text. Alt text is what Google crawls for photos. So this is the same keyword research that you're going to want to use based on what you think people are searching for. One of the good ones to use would be Seattle artist, Seattle jeweler, Seattle whoever you are, because SEO is easier localized. Click edit alt text, you're going to want to put in some semblance of like this dash this dash this. You want the alt text to generally describe what the photo is. So like Ember Studs, small circle, metal lace earrings, Twyla Dill, 14 karat gold plated, dusty rose, Seattle jewelry, handmade, blah, blah, blah. Like it's a bit much, but those are going to give keywords here within the photo for Google to search. And this will make you more likely to show up in Google image searches. So if somebody searches for your kind of product within images, your images will show up as well. The very last thing, and I know this is a lot, but is to actually rename the file name. So before you upload this particular white background image to the website, rename that file name in your computer, wherever it's living, to something that is searchable or that people might be searching. Okay, that's some just SEO fun stuff. This is not Shopify related, but the last SEO thing is if you are not already on Google My Business, if you have a storefront, you are. That's usually how you have a storefront like address listing, but you can Google My Business for a home address. And as soon as they approve your location, you can disable the address so that publicly people can't see your address, but they do see that you're in Seattle. That helps you immensely show up in localized Seattle searches that are related to your business. So if you go to Google My Business, just search that in Google, it will walk you through everything. You're going to have to get a postcard sent to you, most likely with a code. You put the code in, and then before you make that Google My Business page active, you essentially like hide address. So it's not going to show your home address if you're working from home, but it will show that you're in this zip code, which helps you show up immensely. And that will help the traffic.
Can you do something can you list the market as your home address versus if we're outside of Seattle, if things are being made outside of Seattle, Molly Terrace, whatever?
You would have to be able to send a postcard somewhere. So maybe you could get a PO box at the little post office there, and you could send the postcard there. But you have to be able to receive mail there once.
Okay.
That's the only, and then the only other thing, like you'd still then want to hide that post office address later, because you don't want people going to the post office thinking it's your business, right?
Right. Okay.
So you probably could have a workaround there. I've actually had a little bit of an issue with the studio I'm in now because I didn't have a box here, and all my mail goes to like a PO box somewhere else. So I'm actually in the process of trying to figure that out. You have to send it somewhere and then approve it, and then you can just hide the address. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go back to apps, which is what I was talking about. So I'm not gonna click on each of these apps and go through them. We don't have enough time for that, but I'm gonna show you why I have them. Some of these are paid, some of them are not. This first one is called Bulk Image Edit. And you know what I was just showing you about image alt text and photo file names and stuff. This actually can bulk edit all of that. So if you have already built out your website, or you're uploading a bunch of products at once, you can actually get this app and go in and edit all the alt text at once. You can, it has a lot of functionality. You can also like take a bunch of randomly sized images and crop them all to square at once. Or let me see if it shows right here, the other stuff. There's like, yeah, alt text file name, minimize. You can convert them from PNG to JPEG, GIF to PNG. You can make them all square. So like there's so much here. Do you see all this? Yeah. Crop, rotate, resize, trim, minimize, et cetera, et cetera. So like that has a lot you can do. This particular app is, I believe, $20 a month, but it saves changes. So if you want to do one big batch edit in one given month, like when you're building your website, you can get it for 1 month, and then you can discontinue your subscription. And then you can always get it later if you want to. Because I'm doing so much right now, we actually pay for it monthly, but you wouldn't have to. The second one here is Crafty Base. It's my inventory management program. I can't get into that today. We don't have time. It is not free, but that's because it's a total separate program, and it actually just connects with Shopify so that my inventory is managed between the two. Easy Tabs. This is $5 a month, I believe. And if I go to my website here, do you see, as I scroll down, this little thing drop down, it's like description, specs, jewelry care, and then shipping and returns, all those drop downs. That is what Easy Tabs does. You can have it as a full-on drop down like that, or there's a way that you can have like little tabs across the top here. That's like just totally an add-on, and you would not have to do it. I just liked that it kind of compresses the page as opposed to being like one long ongoing amount of information that people aren't necessarily going to read. Facebook here, I don't know if we have time to get into it, but you are going to want to connect Facebook if you would like to have Facebook shopping, ads, Instagram shopping, because Instagram was bought by Facebook. It's all wrapped up into that Facebook app. It's not paid. It's just an app that connects it all together. You can make, there's all sorts of functionality in there. Flexify is a product feed specifically for Facebook ads. I don't understand a lot of it, honestly, because I've had other people run ads for me, and I am in the middle of trying to learn to do it myself, and it's very complicated. So I would like to be able to teach you that, but it's a little over my head at this point in time. Go Ask Pro. This I'm just going to mention it because it's here, but it's an affiliate marketing program. There's a free version actually that I use, the free version. So if you would like to say have people around the Seattle area wear your jewelry, which is what I'm doing, share a link so customers can purchase through their link, and then also customers get a code to get a discount. That particular app tracks everything in the back end so that we know who sold what and what commission they get, et cetera, et cetera. It's quite robust. I could see Megan, I know you've done some stuff with affiliates that working really well for you because you can track it all in the back end. And yeah, it's awesome. Klaviyo is my email marketing platform. I don't have time to get more into that either. But you can use Klaviyo, you can use MailChimp, you can use OmniSend. I mean, there are like lots of other ones, but I find Klaviyo is a little harder to learn and a little more expensive, but very robust. I think most people use MailChimp in the beginning. If you're using MailChimp and want to connect it, MailChimp and Shopify broke up, but there is a third-party app that can sync between the two. I don't remember what it's called, but just Google it and you will find it. I believe it's free. So you pay for MailChimp, but the app to connect them is free. Pinterest, if you want to do that, you can connect Pinterest. So I have like a bunch of clickable products on Pinterest that go back to my website. Also free to connect. If I wanted to run Pinterest ads, that would go through that as well, but I don't have those right now. Something I highly recommend having is some sort of product reviews app. Especially if you're starting out, get that on there right in the beginning and start getting reviews from people. It helps a lot in buyers being able to trust you and to buy online. This product reviews one here is a specific Shopify app. But then the actual reviews program I use is called Stamped.io, right here at the very bottom, reviews and UGC. I don't remember what that stands for. These just work together. They're both free. And again, I don't know if I have time to get into exactly how they work together, but you can, if you look at my website, you can see all of my reviews. Stamped.io has its own emails. So like I sell something and then 14 days later, this person gets an email asking to leave a review. And then if they don't, they get another one, whatever, 5 days later, something like that. It will give you suggestions within that app as to when to send the emails out. It's all automated behind the scenes and it will help you start getting those reviews. Just as a super side note, I made a little postcard to go in my orders for any order that's not a one-of-a-kind piece, asking for reviews. And I do a giveaway once a month with anybody who's left a review on the website. And I just randomly draw somebody and give them a $50 gift card. That's very helpful in leaving reviews because you can talk about how somebody's going to win each month and people will leave more reviews. Okay, Sales Rocket. I don't know if I want to get way into this one. You can do a lot with it. You can like set countdown timers for things and you can set product stock. Like it will actually show what's in stock for people. And there's a lot of other stuff. This one is paid. I believe it's only like, well, now it's loading because my computer's slow. Okay, never mind. You can go look at Sales Rocket for yourself. Let me go back here. Okay. You can go look at Sales Rocket for yourself. It has tons of functionality. Yeah. Smart Wish List here is free. I have it on there so people can actually make a, like log in to an account, make a wish list for themselves. And you can see it on the back end. So you can see what people are like loving and wanting. And just as a total side note, I used this during the holidays. There were some of my better customers whose husbands I actually had the info of, and I went into their wish lists and I emailed their husbands and I was like, here are the specific things that whoever wants. So this is really handy as kind of a tool to connect with people on the pieces they love. And especially because it's free, I would do that if you can. And you do have to keep telling people about it. People will forget that it exists, but especially during the holidays, I'm kind of like talking about the wish list a lot. Very last thing is Smile Rewards and Loyalty. This is a program, it's also free or has a free version to give people it's a loyalty program. So like they get amounts off for like, they get points for spending money and then they can redeem it. I would not start with it. It's kind of complicated. And honestly, I find it annoying for people to get discounts every time I set it up. And then I was like, nah, I don't know about this, but some people use it and some people love it. And if you have a business where that fits, it can do really good things for the customer loyalty. Okay. I covered some SEO. We didn't talk about barcodes because I don't know enough about them yet, but if I will try and get some information over maybe to Maggie or somebody in the next week or two if I have barcode information, since I'm thinking about doing that. Photo editing apps was one of the questions. Let me touch on this just really fast. Again, I use an iPhone. One of the apps I use is called PhotoFuze, FOTOFUZE.com. This is an app to wipe all the backgrounds perfectly white. You got to have it to the lighting you want already, like take the photo, edit it to make sure the product looks good, then you can wipe the background white with that. It's very easy and there's a free version. I personally use Color Story to edit most of my photos to get the like color correction good. You can also batch edit, so you could upload like 10, and as long as the lighting is very similar, you can edit one of them, it will apply it to all of them. So I use that, it's also free. Just to quickly touch on photos. That was a lot and we have 10 minutes left. So does anybody have questions right now? Because I want to make sure that I can answer as much as possible. No? Okay. It's too much. I know. You're like, I don't know.
I have, this might be too product specific for us, but I wasn't sure how to figure out how to do sort of the inventory tagging, because we have, you know, for jewelry, we have necklace, earrings, rings, but then we have different stones and then we have different sizes, and trying to figure out how to start the product, how to prioritize what
people are searching by.
Yeah, or what, and what, even for the format of how you get your product set up. Like, should I do, I know I would do earrings, but I can also just do things by stone, or I can do things, you know, it's just trickier. I'm not sure where to start from a jewelry background. Do you have recommendations for that? I know you have more just color.
It's more color, yeah.
Consistency.
So I would do it by what's intuitive to the shopping. So like, I personally do it by style is the first thing. It kind of depends on how many you have. If you, for example, if you had one earring that has, I'm sorry, you said stones and then metals.
Well, we have certain styles that will repeat, certain settings that will repeat, but with various stones. But then the size also varies, you know? Yeah.
If it is, if you have 2 stone variations, I would probably, depends on how many items you have on your website. Yeah. I currently have way too many. And so I need to collapse mine as much as possible. If I had a lot less, I might want to make it a little bit more robust. So for example, if I had one earring that had 2 stone options, I might make them 2 different listings, right? Yeah. But for me personally, if I have so many things on the website, combining those into one makes it less cluttered for people to look at. Yeah. I was talking with somebody who mentioned like the ideal amount of SKUs, which means individual variants. And it was like maybe 600 is the ideal, like don't go above that. I probably have like 6,000. I have way, you know, I am notorious for like totally confusing my customers when they're trying to choose something. So keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's specific enough.
I think our situation is kind of odd and we need to sort of narrow that down if we're going to do things online versus having people look at them. So it's that transition.
Right. I mean, yeah, you could start by like offering one earring and two stones only online, like start that, you know, and then if you want to add it out, you could build it out to have more. What I would say, generally speaking, is if you have a specific product with variants where some of the variants are sold out some of the time, I would try to separate them.
Okay.
Because it's okay to have some sold out, but if you have a lot of stuff showing as sold out, that's not ideal. So yeah, if some of those stone options are going to be sold out sometimes within a given variant, if you separate them out, you can deactivate
What's available,
what's not available.
yeah.
Versus if it's all one listing, you can't deactivate that. You'd have to actually like delete the variant.
Okay,
That makes
that's very
sense?
helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. The app I use after Photo Fuse, I actually use it before Photo Fuse. I take the photo, I edit it in Color Story, that's the app, and then I do it in Photo Fuse after that. If I make a collection, will it create a new page with SEO fields? I'm going to show you collections in here and I will explain that. Let's see if I go to collections are under product. So you're going to click product. Yeah, we didn't get too far into collections, did we? Okay, product. And if you go down here to collections here, oh, gift cards. Okay, I'm going to show you collections real fast. We might go a little bit over. I want to talk about gift cards. Okay, here are all my collections. You can make an infinite number of collections. They're not going to show up on the website unless you make them show up in the dropdown. However, they each have a unique URL. So just as an example, my, where is it here? Oh, there's a lot of collections. Anyways, I don't know where it is, but there's a collection. Here we go. That's called One of a Kind VIP Release. When I release new one of a kind pieces, it goes to a secret page. The secret page is just a collection with no link anywhere on the website. It's just its own URL. So you can make a collection of anything here and send people there from Instagram or send people there from a different link on your website. For example, a blog post specifically about statement earrings, but I don't want the statement earrings in the drop down. I just make a collection. You can see here, product tag is equal to statement earrings, right? So that's, I'm tag the product statement earrings. It shows up in this collection. I can take this collection URL and I can put it, link it in a blog post or somewhere else, and then someone will go to that collection from wherever I've linked it. As you asked about the collections and SEO fields. So if I just click on earrings, for example, here, once it loads, do you see how there's a description optional here? You could make this collection title more descriptive, like silver pearl ear, whatever, you know, like you can make the title here more specific for SEO, absolutely. Mine, this particular collection of mine is for my earring drop down in my page navigation at the top. I don't want it to be more complicated than earrings. But if this collection were for SEO purposes, you could make it more complicated. You can also put a description that's going to show up at the top of a collection page. That would help you with SEO too. So I don't know if that answered your question, Katie, but you can use collections for SEO. You can also use them for kind of like organizing the website and search. Cool, that did. Okay, and then Tiz, you said, I had Squarespace before. What's the thing I like the most? It's been so long that I just now I'm totally used to Shopify. However, the main things that made me switch were auto-calculated sales tax because of it being we're in a destination-based state, And I just like, it would have taken me, 3 days total of sitting at the computer to put in sales tax numbers for Shopify or for Squarespace. Sorry. That was one of the reasons. The other reason was combined POS so that I can sell in person and have it all sync together and also get all my analytics in one place. I think those were kind of like my two main reasons that I switched. And now I just like Shopify better, but also it's been so long. I know Squarespace has improved since whatever, 4 years ago. Yeah, I don't know. Did you have specific things you're thinking about with it and what you're trying to decide on?
I'm just, it's complicated for me. There's so many different themes and, styles. This just seems a lot more straightforward. So I might be switching, honestly.
To Shopify?
To Shopify, yeah. I mean, it's a little more expensive, Squarespace, but it seems like you can really customize it a lot better.
It's more robust in terms of editing, what you can do, the stuff you can do with it. I mean, I mentioned in the beginning that obviously with more apps and add-ons, like if mine was $79 a month and then I added on a bunch of apps, it's going to be a lot more than that a month, right? It's not necessarily going to stay that amount. However, there are a lot of apps that are free if you actually look for them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've found it pretty much to be able to do everything I want it to do so far.
I feel like too with Squarespace, if you have a question, there's no one to talk to. You have to just go to a link that shows a video, and you're kind of in limbo trying to figure it out. So it's been kind of.
I wish that, I mean, obviously I'm happy that Shopify has grown because it's a good platform, but it's grown so much that their support has gotten hard. Like I can't just call and get someone immediately, which I used to be able to. You can still talk to a person, but it's just a little bit more, it's the 3 steps and then leave your number and they'll call you back.
Right.
But they are, when you get a hold of them, they're very helpful and they'll walk you through almost anything if they have the capability to do that. So yeah. Okay, real quick, I want to show gift cards because I know I touched on them earlier and I didn't go. So under products, all the way at the bottom here is gift cards. These are going to show, let's see. Add gift card product. You're going to go at the top, you're going to add a gift card. It's going to show like a product. So you're going to add a photo for whatever you want the photo to be. It's going to show a drop down of, let me see here if I can show you how to edit. Like these are the individual ones that were purchased right here. And it shows on the right hand side like what's been used, right? So I can see 0 of 75, 0 of 100, 18, right? I can see all that. Let me see if I can do this without messing it up. Add gift card product. Yeah, okay, so it looks like a product page here. You're going to add a file for whatever photo you want, and then you just add the denominations you want. And then you're going to, product type is gift card, vendor is Twyla. If you want it to show up in collections, you can put it in collections. So like it shows up in all when you're shopping all or whatever. You can change the SEO, you can put a description, you can show where it's available, and then you set it to active. So it works like a product. But it's tracked in Shopify's backend because legally, like when I'm looking, for example, at this most recent one from February 27th, legally, I get paid that $50 when they buy the gift card, but I'm never allowed, I have to report the tracking and I'm never allowed to get rid of it. And so Shopify tracks this on the back end for like tax purposes. And I wouldn't do gift cards without Shopify. Because there's some legal stuff that you have to have it tracked and you have to have the gift card kept and always available, et cetera, et cetera. So those are gift cards. I don't know if that was enough. I'm going to stop share for a second because we're 3 minutes over. And I feel like I could talk for another 2 hours. There's just so much stuff, but did that help? Do you have any more pressing questions? I mean, I'm happy to stay a few minutes longer. I don't know, Madison or.
I came into this with like a massive $1 million question. I hired someone who is a marketing dude who's got a build Shopify website skill set. Built the Shopify website. We ran into some issues that I don't need to go into too much on. And he has disappeared from the face of the earth. And so I'm a smart boy. I think, hey, why don't I just learn to build campaigns, build audiences, and drop ads myself? And so I learned through the Zoom deal, you actually you've built your own store and you've managed your own store, but you are not thus far in charge of running your own ads.
Correct. I started doing ads last year, halfway through the year, through an agency. I worked with 2 agencies last year for ads. They were exorbitantly expensive, but worth it. However, I had to take a break for the spring of this year, and I'm actually talking with a new ads manager this week.
Maybe you and I can speak on another occasion about that topic. And I guess like the binary answer I'm looking for to this question, the yes or no answer to the question is, should I try to figure out how to do this myself? Like coming into this whole Shopify web sales universe cold, do you think it will just make my brain seize to the side of my skull if I try to learn this shit on the fly?
The website stuff or the ad stuff? They're totally different. The ad stuff. It makes my brain hurt. The back end of Facebook is just terrible.
Roger that. And confirm.
They're honestly, I would say if you want to figure out your own ads, go get a course. I can send you a link because there are a few that I know of like how to run your own ads, but not do it with a manager.
Like Creative Live type places, courses, sort of thing.
They're going to be probably like $300 to $700.
Okay.
But as opposed to that, it's a one-time fee versus an ads manager on average is going to cost you no less than $1,000 a month. I was paying $1,500 a month last year. So like and that's not ad spend. That's the manager. And then ad spend was on top of that. So I was probably paying more than $3,000 a month for half the year last year so it's like, it's a chunk. And that for me was maybe a little too much for last year. So I would suggest if you want to try to run to go with a manager, maybe you could find somebody probably who is an intern, who is learning Facebook ads, who is whatever, and you could pay them less, but depends on how much time you have and how your brain works. I don't have a lot of extra time, specifically, and my brain does not, honestly, the last 2 weeks I've tried to do Facebook ads myself, like I've gone in and I just sit there staring at the screen and nothing, it is to me totally baffling, as opposed to the website I can figure out, like I've built all this. The ads are a whole other game. It
excites the part of my brain that got a degree in marketing, but I'm also a gentleman of a certain age, and I got my degree in marketing in 1995. And so I think that I have a curiosity, but that it sounds like it's a pretty deep, digs itself rabbit hole that any person could get stuck in.
But it's also possible. If you have that kind of mind, that's why I would suggest I can pull a few links of like product ad courses, and you maybe could just follow a few people on social media or join their email lists, because it's possible for sure to do it yourself. The way my brain works, it's like just the back end of Facebook gets me crazy. But just dipping my toe in the water of it thus far. Like I lost control of my Facebook business page, and they're a major media outlet Oh, they're not helpful. Yeah.
That makes billions of, but I mean, if I had $50,000 ad placed in some cable channel, CNN, Prime, I could call a dude. I could call a dude in Atlanta or North Carolina, get somebody on the horn. And yeah, so Facebook's infuriating. I will ask you some more questions in a different context later, but
that's probably good. Yeah. It's a complicated,
there's a lot of stuff here.
There's a lot of stuff here. Yeah. 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 Yeah, we'll talk. That's fine. I'll pull some links of some different Facebook ads courses if you want to go the way of like figuring it out yourself. Gina, should you keep your main website as well? What do you mean by that? Do you mean that you have one that's not Shopify right now, and then you also want to have a Shopify?
I have a website, but it's very basic. It's a Wix website. And I just figured out how to do all of that this year.
If it's working for you, you don't need to change it.
It's more that it's just like more of a gallery site where it's all nice and everything's pretty, but it's also has prices on it. And I forget about it as my website because I did Etsy for a little, I just started doing Etsy, and that was like boom, ba-doom, ba-doom. And but yeah, I mean, somebody did the website and it took forever for me to figure out. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I could totally map this thing out. I totally figured it all out. And I'm like, oh, do I not even need this anymore? Or should I just keep it as like a showpiece? You know what I mean?
Are you selling on, like, can people purchase on Wix, or does it just show the prices and the photos?
They can purchase it as well.
Yeah. Okay, so just from like a sales and the way the world is perspective, you can't control what information you have on Etsy. So the reason to have your own website is that it's the only place you have control of the information, the products, everything. Etsy could change the algorithm tomorrow, and then you don't have it. So the reason to have your own website is that kind of like ownership and autonomy.
I hear what you're saying.
I did mention real fast earlier a way to get Etsy people to your website. Technically, you're not supposed to poach from Etsy. However, if somebody orders a product, you can print out a little card that's like 10% off your next order on my website. And you have your website URL, not your Etsy URL. So you can you can funnel people from Etsy to your website by having a little physical printed thingy with a code for 10% off or whatever you want, in an Etsy package. Technically, you're not supposed to do that, but I know tons of people do who are fine. You just can't like message them on Etsy, take the email addresses, anything like that. Gotcha. So if you're trying to have these two work together as a funnel kind of, I would always put something like that in any Etsy orders to try to get them as customers on your website.
I basically, it's on my business cards, and it's where I send people because it's easy to remember.
To your website?
Yeah, to my website, and I have Pinterest linked to there. If I haven't really done much with it, but I do have linked. I figured out how to do that stuff, so I feel pretty confident that the Shopify would be fairly easy. But I'm not really, I don't know. I feel like I should almost hit all of them.
Okay, so Wix and Shopify are going to essentially do the same thing. The back end is going to be different, but they're just your own personal, like, corner of the internet, right? That's all that it's acting as. So if Wix is working, don't change it. Okay. It's a lot of work to change a website if Wix is working. If it stops working at some point, you grow to a point where it's not working anymore, or you really need functionality that you don't have with Wix, then you might want to change, but don't. And
I did want to mention, I don't know if it works on Shopify, but one thing I found on Wix was that if I put all my photos that I like into a private Facebook photo album that only I can see, it's so much easier to grab my photos because there's I don't have to plug my phone into anything. I can just take them straight off my phone, go put these in my photo file on Facebook, and then in Wix it's like take photos off the internet and I can go right to my Facebook page and take them off anywhere
Cool.
that I'm at.
That's
So it's
awesome.
kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if it's working, there's no need to change if it's working. Shopify is going to be better as you know, if you start to grow or if you hit a place where you don't like what Wix has to offer. So, yeah. Amy is asking any features in my particular theme that I wish it did. You know, Amy, I feel like there was a feature that I was trying to make happen with my theme that wasn't happening, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But I can tell you if I think about it. There's so much you can do. I mean, there have been a few things I've needed to like change the coding on the back end for my theme, but I've always been able to have help from Shopify doing that, just like plugging in a little code of some sort. Yeah, I'm trying to, I don't want to sit here trying to remember because I won't remember, but I feel like there was one thing maybe that my theme didn't do. All right, we are 15 minutes over, 14 minutes over. Any last minute questions? And then I will let you go about your days and building your websites. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's fun. There's a lot there. And then just keep in mind my closing remarks. Building a website will not make people come to the website. So, you know, it's not like you build it and then all of a sudden you have all this traffic. You have to really work for it and write blog posts and drive people there. And I couldn't get into more blog post SEO right now, but you know, it'll take time to build up, but having that place that's your own place on the internet versus Etsy or something else is like, especially this year, especially with where we're going, is so important because you control it and all the information that comes in. So that is that. And I'll let you go. Thanks so much for coming and learning, and yeah, I'll talk to you all later and maybe see you someday in person.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Bye. Have a good rest of your day.